how does Whitehead conceptualize, how are actual entities that aren't God and God as an actual entity, how do you relate those things?
Yeah. So like all actual entities, God is dipolar, like I was saying before. And, there's a ancient tradition of negative theology where paradox and the coincidence of opposites becomes the best means we have for describing the divine nature. And so Whitehead would say that the primordial nature of God is eternal and the consequent nature of God is temporal. Why is that? Well, the primordial nature is the mental pole of God, and that is God providing some valence or aesthetic order to the realm of infinite possibilities. It's that envisagement of possibility by the primordial nature of God that allows for all finite actual occasions to then have some relevant sense of possibility or novelty in each unique situation that they arise within. So that's the role of the primordial nature. The consequent nature then, as the temporal part, Whitehead would say that the primordial nature is alone and one in a sense, whereas the consequent nature is together with the world and is in a sense the community of all of the finite actual occasions that have ever arisen. So the role of the consequent nature is to gather together everything that happens and in some way make that multiplicity harmonious. And so there's this tension between these two poles of God. Whitehead doesn't want there to be two gods, but it's paradoxical to understand how his conception of the divine can be both eternal and historical, how it can be both alone and with the world. He says also that the primordial nature of God is unconscious and the consequent nature of God becomes conscious because of its relationship with the world. You could think of the primordial nature as just this sort of unconscious yearning that again gives some kind of a structure or creates a hierarchy of value in relationship to infinite possibility that then informs and lures all the finite actual occasions. But they're not determined by that primordial envisagement. Finite occasions make their own decisions, but whatever they decide, the consequent nature finds a way of harmonizing with that, bringing it back into some sense of ever ongoing unification. And so God grows with the world in Whitehead's scheme. Part 5 of Process and Realities, where he lays this out, and he goes from part 4, which is all that Mariotopological stuff that's hard to follow, to the most poetic part of the book, which is not as conceptually clear because he's dealing with a mystical experience that's steeped in all of these paradoxes and seeming contradictions.